Hello, hello, hello. Hey, friends. If you're here watching this replay, thank you so much for stopping by. Svava Brooks here, trauma recovery coach. I love to hang out here on Thursdays to support my fellow survivors on the healing journey, answering questions, empowering, encouraging, supporting. The healing journey is hard enough, so it is easier when we come together, right? Stronger together. If you're curious about the work that I do, please visit my website, svavabrooks.com. And I'm super excited about the audiobook that I am working on. I'm holding up here my well-loved and worn book that like I said, I'm turning into audio. And with my daily reminders, I also have in there for you mindfulness, meditation, self-compassion practices, all the little tidbits that might support you on the journey. But if you're here with me live right here, right now, please say hello. Please let me know that you're here. Hey, friends. Good to be with you all. Oh, my goodness. Boom, boom, boom. This makes my heart sing. See you all popping in here. Yay. So thank you so much. A few of you saw that I posted in our Facebook group a question about how can I best support you, my friends? What's going on your healing journey? I'm here to empower and offer and share with you what I have learned on my journey and what I'm learning from others. Because I certainly don't know everything. Don't even pretend to do that. But I know there's lots of wisdom here in our community that we share. But today I thought, let's talk about setting goals. Sometimes that can be tricky when we are setting goals. We're working on this healing thing. It's a little bit, right? Few steps forward, few steps back. So I thought we'd kind of do a little refresher on the challenges that sometimes come up around setting goals. And again, I want to thank you guys. I posted in the Journey to the Heart group a question. What do you guys need? Where are you at on your healing journey? So after we visit a little bit, check in and see how everybody is doing, we are gonna dig into a little bit of mindfulness. I pulled out one of the mindfulness modules that I teach, and we're gonna go through some of that together. So float all boats, says Rob. Look at it's so colorful. I'm looking at the chat. Oh my goodness. Look at all those flowers. I see you, Rob. See you, Lady Leo, Sue, Lynn, EJ, Liz. You'll be popping in and out, Lady Leo. All right. I know you're keeping busy, keeping busy. You found your flower emojis. I'm yet to find emojis on is it where it says custom emojis? Do I pop in there? I may have to experiment here. Oh yeah, I can see them. Oh my goodness. There you go. That's me. Let's see. Yes, the usual cast of characters have showed up. See, and now I'm just playing. See, I figured it out. I didn't know you could do this. I'm always learning something new. Always learning something new. All right, enough playing. Get back to business. So how are you doing today, my friends? Looks like you're all in good spirits. You use emojis on your phone and tablet. Yes. Lynn, right? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. All right. So I see you guys are visiting. See you guys are visiting. I like that. I like that. So I'm pulling up a screen here so I can see my notes. See my notes. So the reason I thought about this as a topic for us today was since I put in the group to ask people about where they're at on their healing journey and what they're working on. Taco dinner. Lynn, yum. So as I was asking, right, what are you working on? Where are you on your healing journey? I also reminded myself, and this is, of course, true for me too, the challenge of sometimes setting goals. So let's talk about it, right? The benefits of setting goals, healing goals, and what are some goal-related pitfalls. And let's talk about how mindfulness can help us when it comes to setting goals. So anyone here willing to share what's a goal you're working towards? Anyone? Anyone? I hear you, EJ. She says, how can you think of goals when simply getting through the day is overwhelming? There's no bandwidth left for goals or dream. I hear you. And this can even be related to getting through the day, right? What are you working on your healing journey? So, right, goals are part of life, right? We can have a goal like Lynn here, working towards her EMT certification. We can have career goals. We can have leisure goals, right, EJ? Some leisure goals. Personal goals, right? Personal development. And then we can have small goals. My goals are what gets me through the day. There you go, Lynn. And then we can have big goals, right? Small goals, I'm just finishing this task. And big goals, I'm building a house, or I'm saving X amount of money, or, right? Trouble with goals can be that I feel like I'm falling short all the time. I hear you, Lynn, yes. Even if it's just making it to the bathroom, right? And I was talking to someone recently just about, it's interesting when you start to tag or track stuff, right? Like drinking more water. Are you getting 5, 8 glasses of water per day? This is my 3 glasses in a jar. Just put some ice in it. Goals, fitness, says Rob, trying to find the balance between diet and exercise. Yes, right? You said it, balance. Brushing my teeth every day, says EJ, and showering more than once a week. I hear you. I hear you. See? We do have some goals. So now, guys, now I need directions. How do I close the emoji window? No, it just stays here constantly. Can I close it? Anyone? Anyone? All right, I'm going to keep going. So goals, what are the benefits? Goals can determine direction, help to, right? What am I focused towards? Increase motivation, build self-efficacy, and enhance focus, right? That's what goals can provide. You got to do small goals that lead to larger ones. That's right, Lynn. You got it, my friend. So let's talk about some pitfalls, potential pitfalls when it comes to goal setting, right? An excessive focus on goals can have paradoxical effects. Rather than getting closer to the goal, we find ourselves moving away from it. Anyone experience that? under the texting line, she says. Oh, thank you, Lynn. It worked. Thank you. It was taking up half my screen. So my bigger goal is building a pizza oven and a terracotta pot tandoori oven. That's fantastic, Rob. So your cooking thing, you're just taking off here. Exploring. Sounds like you figured out what you like to do, what you like to make and bake. That's awesome. So, counterproductive, goal, less negative thoughts, right? If someone sets a goal, okay, I want to work on my negative thoughts, right? I want to eliminate all my negative thoughts. What can happen? We experience lower self-esteem. All of a sudden, we're constantly realizing our low self-esteem. I was curious, Rob, if you have found yourself setting a goal and then realize how it almost works against you, right? And another goal could be we're trying to lose weight. What happens? All of a sudden, we blow our calorie count. Right? Obsess about it, yes. And maybe we have a goal. I really need to fall asleep. What happens? We're so anxious about not falling asleep that it keeps us awake. Obsess about it, says Sue. I hear you, Liz. You are not alone. Can we validate Liz? You are not alone, my friend. I had all kinds of thoughts, right, in the past about the people that have hurt me. So, yes, I hear you. I hear you. Sometimes goals need to be refined. We need to make them realistic. Yes, exactly. That's the thing as humans. Rob says, it took me 3 weeks attempting to make a cat ladder, but 5 minutes after I asked Norman for help. That's so funny. There you go, Lynn, right? We don't think about the 50 pounds, we focus on the 5. Exactly. And then break it into one at a time, right? Good for you, Liz. It definitely helps to say out loud and helps to know you're not alone, my friend. You're absolutely not alone. So another thing that can get in the way, right, counterproductive, is we just, Lynn just so beautifully put it here, right, is that we have to set a realistic goal because there can be too much awareness of the discrepancy, like the space between I'm here and this is where I want to go, right? So let's say someone is wide awake and they're really focusing on trying to sleep, right? And someone that wants to go to college, the goal is to go to college and they haven't even started applying for college, right? And someone who wants to buy a house one day, but maybe they still live in a small apartment or with roommates. Not that any of those things are wrong, but right, too much awareness of discrepancies. And also when we become frustration, when there's frustration of the differences, right? That's what creates tension, pressure. Anything that we put any discrepancy in whichever direction creates frustration inside of us, right? And so as a result, decreased attention for and then lowers the quality of the present moment. Because it's really in the present moment where one step, one manageable step at a time, we will get towards the goal. But if we're constantly focused on the future, then we have less attention for the now. So here's the tricky part, right? Goals are about the future, but the future is what? It's just a thought. And so if we're constantly just thinking, we put a lot of attention on the goal, it's a lot of thinking, a lot of thinking. And so less and less attention for the now, which is right here now is a way to get to the next moment. The now is never as important as the goal. And for most of us, right, the here and the now is never good enough. So these are some of the pitfalls. So it becomes, we have less attention for the now. We have less value of the now, right? Sue, right? Sigh. Be gentle with yourself. But we forget, right? It's coming into this moment that even an aimless moment can be enriching, right? Even when we're putting together the puzzle, we're painting or drawing or doodling. That's an enriching moment. Better and more so than just obsessing about thinking about the future. Yep, exactly. Exactly. So a lot of attention for goals means that we spend a great amount of time in our head thinking, right? And that is counterproductive. Most of us have a really good spin cycle, right? It's really well trained. Something gets in there and someone presses the button, we're off. So what are some neutral, positive thoughts as we work towards our goal? I love that, Rob. That's right, EJ. It is. So more neutral, positive thoughts. What's on my to-do list, right? Who here likes lists? Boom, 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 boom. It's often a great way to kind of whiteboard, get the stuff out of our head, where when it starts to build pressure, you know, the mind goes off on all the things that we should be doing and ought to have done and aren't going to do well enough, and why bother, right? And then, or we can put in, if I manage to do blank, I can, right, come up with some reframing, and or ask ourselves, when shall I finish? I hate lists, says EJ. Either people love them or hate them. And some negative thoughts here, right? We have a goal, but then it's like, what if I don't succeed? I'm not sure if everything will work out. I cannot permit myself to fail, right? I think a lot of us don't start things because we are worried about failing, right? So, and here's another piece. They call it, right, the happiness illusion. Many goals are set because we believe that achieving them will make us happier. Overestimating the anticipated impact of future events. And remember, we get used to what we achieve, right? The hedonic adaptation. Short-lived happiness. These are just some bullets here related to the illusion of happiness, right? I will be happy when. So when we can work towards bringing more attention for the now, more attention into the present moment. I hear you, EJ. Your son won't start. Yes. Speaking of, teenage, young adult sons, right? Every day I'm talking to my son about what he's doing, what is he working on, supporting him with the things that he's anxious about, he's wanting to do, what's his days going to look like. It's a daily process to work with. Liz says, my lists felt overwhelming, so I don't make them. Maybe a list that says one affirmation for every item. Yes. 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 Well, and this is it's helpful when we figure out what works for us. What works for us. So coming into the present moment, right, we actually tend to be more productive, right? Undivided attention for the action in this moment. And that's the other thing my son David was telling me, that he's like, yeah, Mom, I'm really going to try to do my meditation earlier in the day. He's starting to meditate. And Rob, he was initially inspired by that TV show that you are watching now. And then he stumbled upon another TV show where they were talking about mindfulness and meditation, because he recognizes that he is more productive and less stuck in his head thinking about what he's going to do, but actually doing some of them. So we have become more productive, right? And as we come into this moment, the present moment, we are less frustrated by the gap between now and the goal. And less distracted by negative thoughts when we're focused in the present moment, clear of what we're working on, not worried about the past or the future, but here, right here, right now. And also, the truth is, when we're in the present moment, we experience less fear. And what is fear? What does fear spell out? Sorry, guys, my hands are so dry. All that washing of hands. Fear is false expectations appearing real. False expectations appearing real. Fear, the thought we are not going to have something that we think we need. right? You can never win from fearful thoughts. Most of our fear is thinking about something. It isn't actually happening in this moment. We're either reflecting on the past or we're worried about the future. Hey, friend. So, and I know for us, right, fear is obviously when we experience fear in our body, it's a knee-jerk reaction. We need to move that away from that fear. So if we can practice coming into the present moment, use our tools, whether it's tapping, right? Or, okay, what I'm experiencing, there is something that is setting off fear right here, turning towards our body. Because it's our body that's responding to a thought. We've started thinking about something, expectation, and if we can turn towards it, do a reality check, and then, is this real or is this imagined? Because your body will respond the same way. Is this real or is this imagined? Right? Fear, a thought about the future. It's not the truth. It's a thought about the future. It's an expectation. Recognize the fear and turn back to the present moment. Recognize this is a fear and turn back into the present moment. I'm repeating myself. I'm aware of that. So what do you guys hear? What do you hear me say? Pop quiz. And I know, right, as survivors that have been living in a state of fight, flight, or freeze for a long time, often the reaction to fear is immediate, is quick. And when our biology takes over, our prefrontal cortex gets pushed out of the way. We're no longer operating from, how would I like to respond to that? Right? That's our hardwiring. And what's the hardwiring? Knee-jerk reaction, usually based on the past. So when we slowly become aware of this and maybe recognize that how this shows up in relationship to the goal that we've set for ourselves, and how the past keeps showing up, the same fears. So some of you shared some of your present goals. It's helpful to become aware of this is how our nervous system works. And just to give you an insight from my own experience, that because I was hurt growing up by the people closest to me. And so I always expected the worst from the people closest to me. And I didn't even know that was my expectation, that anytime I was vulnerable, asking for support, or was having a conversation that had to do with, helping me, or I was asking for help, or I was asking for feedback, I always expected the worst. I always expected to be like stabbed in the back. But I didn't know that that was my expectation. I didn't know that that's where I was coming from. That, like, going into that conversation, my nervous system was already like geared up for that battle, or like my shield was up. I was already in defense, protecting myself. And so for years, the conversations between me and my husband were not very productive, because at that point, I literally did not hear him, because I was no longer connected to the wisest part of me, but I had retreated to just almost like my childhood self, who was just fighting to survive. Because I literally, if he would say something, I would, like, I often describe it, it was like I would put 10 daggers on it and then I would take it in. It was so painful. It was always so painful. And I always thought that he was doing this to me. Whew, right? Until I realized I had a fear, expectation, right? That always seemed real. So it took time when I was working on, right, having a healthy dialogue from my adult self, my grounded, open-hearted self. It took time to practice. Definitely had to practice. But it also helped me to have compassion for myself, to recognize that because of my childhood and because of my fight, flight, freeze response, that often that stuff got in the way. And that sometimes in those conversations, it wasn't me talking, right? It wasn't my 40-year-old self, or, it was all of a sudden my 20-some-year-old inner child who just wanted blood, right? And I laugh about it because it's like, I'm going to be right, right? I had to be in control. I had to, right, prove my point. So I don't know if that was helpful. Not reacting, but being curious and observing the fear and watching how it dissolves when challenged with evidence. Yes, Rob, exactly. Exactly. And that's literally what happens, Rob. I can still look back. There's a few key moments where I was able to catch my inner experience. It's like, wow, this is shame that's coming up. And I could literally, and that's why they often say, name it. If you can name what you're feeling, you've brought your prefrontal cortex back online, right? If you can name it, I'm feeling X, I'm feeling, right? If we don't name it, then often it takes off on its own. Sue says, my thinking would have been that if I expected the worst, I wouldn't be disappointed. I hear you. I hear you. Absolutely. Absolutely. I hear you, Sue. But right, and it's to understand, it's like, we want to hope for good things, right? We want to set, right, that I will be respected, I will be treated well, right? It's like the goal of a health, I'm just going back to what I was sharing, is that my goal was healthy communication. But what was getting in the way was my wiring that also set off the thoughts that there's no way the person closest to me is ever going to be kind or generous or want what's best for me, right? They're always going to want to hurt me. So, right, this is how I was able to kind of slowly, I can see this is what I want, but I can also see how I'm getting in my own way, right? Not by my fault, but because of this is how our nervous system and our biology works. So to be gentle. Gentle with yourself. Yes, exactly. Instant cognitive takeover by naming the thing. Yes, exactly. Naming the thing. I hear you, Liz. I hear you on the scary thoughts. I hear you. Name it to claim it. Yes. Yes, Lynn. Absolutely. You can't know a response to what you know until the issue is there something missing. so but what I want to remind all of us, right, is that like our behavior, our actions, exactly, that's what I thought. Thanks, Rob. Right, our body, our nervous system is always doing the best it can. Always. Right? So knowing that, right? Wow. I guess this is all I have right now. I'm doing the best I can. And that needs to be good enough for now. That is good enough. That is good enough. So be gentle with yourself, my friend. Gentle with yourself. Right? Keep coming in the present moment. Keep coming in the present moment, which is hard because the present moment happens in our bodies, right? It's, yes, in our heads, but sometimes we check out. But to know how we feel about the present moment, it's in the body. It's the thinking and the chronic thinking that gets us into trouble. So coming into the present moment, doing our best, notice how are we feeling? How can I bring my focus to the now? Pay attention to what is right now versus always, right, looking ahead and looking for, right, how can I be happy with me now? Satisfaction with the now versus I will be happy when. Because the truth is, the more, we focus on being here now, right, the more gratitude we will have about actually reaching the goal, the more grateful we will feel about the work that we're doing, about the steps we're taking, the step that we're in. And on that note, I want to invite all of you, and no matter where you are, on what step you're in, working towards your goal, what's one thing that you're grateful for today? Right here, right now. Good plan. Yes. That's the counterintuitive, almost admiring how the mind is doing its job very well when it's even when it's unhelpful or acting in bad programming. Then we can guide it back. Yes, exactly. Return to the moment. Exactly. It's like coming back and coming back and coming back. Because, right, there's nothing wrong with your mind. There's nothing wrong with your mind. Your mind is doing what it's meant to do. Your body is doing what it's meant to do. Yes, understanding the system. If you guys have been hanging out with me long enough, you know how I love to break down the system. Okay, this part works like this. This part works like that. This part works like that. And then like mapping them out, understanding them. And once we understand them, oh, they're actually functioning optimally. Right? Like the head is just a meaning making machine. Right? But if there's just a lot of scary thoughts or negative thoughts about myself going in, I'm going to feel like crap. So pay attention to what is here and now, right? While also, it's like driving, right? When we're driving, we're focused on the here and now. We look ahead a little bit. Yeah, the light is 3 blocks ahead, or the GPS, but yet I have to be focused and here. I know many of us can drive with, and we have no idea how we got there, but I'm talking about here and the now. I will focus on how air immediately feels on the surface of my skin. Yes. Yes. I hear you, Liz. I hear you, my friend. I am sorry. That is a fear. Right? We talk those things through with people, and then we still need to come into the present moment and handle life as it's here, as it's here. There you go, Liz. There you go, Liz. I'm making light of what you're saying, but I hear you, friend. I hear you, friend. It's that balance, right, of noticing the fears, the thoughts, right? The constant worrying, coming back into the present moment. Coming back into the present moment. And this is where, mindfulness, going for walks, feeling this, right? The sun on our skin, the breeze, training ourselves to come into the present moment. When you go for a walk, feel every step on the pavement or out in the woods, the soft give of the soil, right? Smell the trees. We're training ourselves to come into the present moment. And that's for most humans very hard. It's very hard. So practice, if you can, some form of meditation. Science is showing us that meditation, right, literally rewires your brain. I keep telling my mom, my son's grandmother, obviously, I was making fun. I am watching my son's insula grow. It's that part of our brain that trains our awareness. So the more we can practice mindfulness or meditation, we train our mind to be in the present moment. There you go, Sue. Really conscious of bird songs recently on walks. And that makes sense, Sue, with all your singing, your ears are trained to tune into music, to listen to music. So any mindfulness practice, even if it's sitting back, right? Just taking 3 deep, slow breaths, placing one hand on your belly and one on your heart, setting an alarm for 1 minute, 3 minutes, keeping your eyes open or closed, and just noticing your breath going in and out of your nose, just feeling that. In and out of your nose. You can even say to yourself, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in, breathing out, or even in or out. Start small, my friends. Start small. And as I'm sitting here, sending warmth to my body, from me to me, reminding my body that I am here, I am here, I am here. No matter how often I tell myself this, my body really likes to hear that I'm here, because I left outside of this body, lived outside of this body, and left it a lot growing up. So each time I come back, each time I say it out loud, my body responds. I hear you, EJ. I hear you. I would be curious, my friend, about the part that doesn't want to be here. Be curious about the part that doesn't want to be here. What does it need from you? Because that is very real, right? Thanks, Lynn, right? Part of us wants to be here. We don't want to be here. Part of us, we want to change. We don't want to change. We want connection. We're afraid of connection. We want love and acceptance. We fear love and acceptance, right? It's be curious, my friend. I hear you. I hear you, my friend. Thank you, Lynn, for putting it into words, because that is exactly it. We are always moving away from pain and towards what we experience or feel like would make us feel better. We're always moving away from pain and towards pleasure. Away and towards. Always, always, always. And once we can understand why, right, we are so compulsively driven like that, it's our biology. And so, how can we turn towards ourselves where we're hurting? Right? As humans, we are hardwired for connection. We long to connect. It starts when we are born. We are driven, compelled to relate and connect. We need humans. And when we don't get that, that isn't safely established, right? Safe attachment. We struggle for a long time with that. Yes, self-compassion, my friend. Yes. Yes. So, facing our fears, right? Addressing those fears, understanding where they come from. Where do they come from? Right? And addressing them one at a time. Yes, Lynn and Liz. And for some of us, it's like hard boundaries with people that are not good for us, divorce from family members, right? I know it's not everybody who can do that. I mean, it's like leaving the country. That's what I did when I was young. It's like, I need to get away. It definitely helped. Some distance, it helps. But doing our best, right, to come into the present moment and do what we can to do something that gives us power, right? What choice can you make that makes you feel like you are not just that you're responding, not just reacting, right? Because so much of life in survival mode is about reacting. Something happens, react. Something happens and we react. Right? Instead of, okay, I know from this, in this moment, this is what I want. In this moment, this is how I'm going to respond. This is how, the steps I'm going to take. I hear you, Liz. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, friends. And this is exactly where coming together, my friends, like this, we can say out loud some of the things that we maybe cannot say in other spaces. You are heard, you are validated, we hear you, we see you, and no matter what, we're all doing our best. Always, 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 always. For me, it goes without saying. Absolutely, always. So, did I hear from everyone? What are you grateful for? One thing you're grateful for right now? Lynn, grateful I popped in tonight. And that's how we build, right? It's easier to come into this present moment if we practice, right? That we can actually experience good things in this moment. So sitting back right here, right now, what's one thing I'm grateful for right now? And stay with that feeling. Thank you. I'm grateful you're here too. What does it feel like? Practice. Expand that feeling of gratitude from just being a fleeting, like short, not like, no, I'm going to stay with that gratitude. Awesome, EJ. Grateful I was present for most of this hour. Anybody else? What are you grateful for? Sue, grateful for your haircut. Yes. Anytime, Lynn. Grateful we giving you an excuse not to study. Well, my friends, I am internally grateful for you guys showing up here, being a part of this community. Absolutely. Couldn't do this without you. Always grateful for you guys and the love and the support and the validation and the encouragement that you give each other. It's expiring. Yes, in a few minutes. Grateful for my redemption. Yes, Rob. Yes. All right, are we ready for the card of the day? Of course, I pulled the card. That's right, EJ, I could, but it would be boring. So I pulled this card before I pressed go live button, and it made me smile because I had posted, I don't know if some of you saw the picture I posted on my profile, Facebook profile today. It was actually history, came from memories and Facebook, and I reposted it. And it's related to this. So, but one day she woke up and discovered that she had grown wings. And the post today was about reminding my fellow humans that you all have wings. So, right now, where you're sitting, I want you to look over your shoulder and notice you have wings. You have wings. Your wings are ready and you are free to fly. That's right. Just forgot you had them. So there you go. So go practice flying this weekend. Do something that brings you joy and that brings you into the present moment. And remember, you already have everything that you need to heal and restore. This beautiful body that you're sitting in is so wise, so wise. And I believe in you always, my friends. Always, always, always. With that, I hope this reminder about the goal setting. There you go, Lynn. Back to work. Right? We can look ahead a little bit, but remember, it starts now. It starts in the now. The fear about the future, it's mostly a thought. So reality checks. So thanks again, my friends, for the comments, answering my question in the group. So any topics that you're looking for support and guidance, I'll do my best to bring it to you. So thank you, sweet friends. Have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Thanks for the thumbs up here. If you like this, if this supports you, it helps here in the YouTube world. So take care. You too. Bye, everyone.